What is up, guys, and welcome back to Everything Goes with your host T and K. Have a special guest join us today, going to give us some new insight. We also lost to Kawhi on a crazy buzzer beater. NBA draft lottery is tonight also, so stay tuned.
It's Elliott! It's picked off! It's Tracy Burton!
Guys, we have a special guest coming on tonight. We have Cabre coming on from the Nascar K&N Pro Series, driving the Toyota Camry number 4. So, Chase, you have been racing almost your whole life. Since you've been 3 years old, you've been racing some sort of either a car or a motorcycle or something. What got you into racing? Is it something in your family, or something you just got into on your own?
Yeah, well, my father actually did it growing up. He raced dirt bikes, and then when my older brother was old enough, he got into dirt bikes as well, and then just kind of trickled down the train, and I led right into it. And from there we started racing. My dad got out of it and took the role as being our mechanic of me and my brother, and just to start, we were at a local level, running down in Dade City, Florida, and then started to get more serious with it and started to travel a bit more and then just kept progressing from there and was able to go on and run some nationals and ran 6th one year at Loretta Lynn's, which is the big national race that everybody runs in motocross, everybody tries to qualify for. So it was definitely pretty cool in that, and then just injuries built up over time, and we got out of it and ended up getting into go-karts, and from there kind of the rest is history.
Now, go-karts, you would eventually go from that into like the 600cc sprint cars, correct?
Yes, sir. So I started actually racing go-karts for a little while, and then my older brother started racing, some bigger cars, and we kind of devoted our money towards, my brother was older. He didn't, we wanted him to make it as well. So knowing I had a little bit of time, we kind of set forth with him, and he started running, and I was still running some go-karts every once in a while, and then I actually gave up racing because I was playing soccer, and I was traveling all over. I played soccer since I was really little, and then I got back into racing later on when my little brother started running go-karts. I said, Dad, why don't we get a go-kart for fun? I just want to do this for fun, nothing for serious, and here we are, I'd say probably 10, 12 years later. That little bit of fun turned into something serious.
Now, go ahead, Ty.
Now, for some people, if they're watching NASCAR or any kind of racing, a lot of people tend to talk down on it and say that it's just cars turning left. From your point of view, it's definitely not an easy sport. We watch it. How difficult is it even going too wide into a turn, almost going 200 miles an hour?
Yeah, it's tough. It's not like anybody would ever imagine. Obviously you can turn the wheel. You can turn the wheel left, and be fine. But and then the same thing is when you get out in the yard and throw a football. You can throw a football, and hell, I can throw a football, but I can't throw it like Peyton Manning. So there's an art to it, and yeah, when you're going off in that corner at 200 miles an hour, it's crazy. So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's just one of those deals you have to try and figure it out, and when you get a chance to experience it and see it in person, it'll change your perspective for sure.
Now, do you get enough downtime with the K&N Pro Series that you can still race sprint cars?
Yeah, so I actually run my Dirt 600. I ended up buying a car. I was like, you know what, I want to get back into dirt racing. We moved up here, and I love dirt racing, man. It's something I've had a crazy passion for, since I've been growing up, and then we got up here, started running some late models. We sold our dirt cars, and then once I got in the K&N deal, I was able to say, let me get a dirt car again, start playing around, having some fun, and running some races around here, and been able to do it and really enjoy it. Actually getting ready to go run what they're calling the Non-Wing World Championship here next week up in Indiana. So having a lot of fun with running dirt car and bouncing back and forth. And also got an outlaw car that I've been racing on Wednesday nights at a Millbridge Speedway. So trying to keep myself busy in the seat as much as possible, because it's just like anything. Practice makes perfect, and those guys that run all the time, it shows.
I got to ask you this, because you know what? I love NASCAR, but I grew up around dirt racing. I never raced, but my whole family has always been involved with racing. As far as sprint car driving goes, I mean, you have got to have a big set of you-know-what on you to drive one of those cars. You think about it, you're never straight on most tracks. You're always sideways. And the side that's always exposed, I mean, you're wide open there. I mean,
yeah,
that's got to be a scary feeling.
Yeah, it's not something that most people can do, and not a lot of people can understand how it works. And but it's kind of it feels right when you get on the racetrack. You throw it off in the corner. It wouldn't feel right to go in the corner and drive it straight like you would a pavement car. It feels right to be sideways and really yaw it out, looking out the right side, turning right. So. From that aspect, from a driver's standpoint, yeah, it feels normal once you get out there and doing it. But from a fan's aspect, you're saying, wow, these guys just go in the corner and just immediately go sideways. And yeah, you're right. It is scary because you touch wheels and things happen so fast. There's cars flying by you and you're passing cars and dirt's flying in your face, and some tracks you're an inch off the fence, and so. It's tough to just say, I'm going to go do it. And there's a lot of race car drivers that I come by that say they'll never get into one, that they say it's just way too scary, way too much to lose. But for me, it's something I grew up doing, and I love every minute of it.
Well, I got to ask you something, too, as far as an aspect from a fan point of view. When you're in the seats and the track's really dry, it's hard for us sometimes to pay attention to where you guys are. How tough is it for you in the car, especially in sprint cars? It seems like you're in lap traffic in like 5 laps maybe in a feature. How tough is it for you guys to maneuver, and how tough is it you don't have mirrors? How do you know can you hear a difference in pitch if somebody's next to you or underneath you, or how does that work for you guys?
Yeah, you can hear them most of the time. Sometimes you can't. And like you said, dirt's flying in your face, and generally we all have it's almost like a gentleman's agreement. We don't want to wreck. So, if you're not to where they can actually see you and they do come into your line, it is your responsibility to get out of the throttle and check up for it. Cause the last thing you want to do is go flipping and, jump their right rear or anything like that. So, unless you get in on somebody to where they can actually see you, general times you'll see a lot of the guys end up backing out if someone crosses their lane, but you almost got a feeling like you almost just know where people are. It's a weird feeling to say, but you almost just you can tell when you got nobody behind you and you're just running. And then you can also, for me at least, I could you feel the pressure, and I don't know how, I don't know what it is, but I guess the extra vibration of their motor, the extra sound, it's just I guess a third nature that we have as drivers. And but yeah, like you said, it can get tough at times to see, and sometimes that dirt's flying up into your helmet if you're not wearing a helmet skirt and get up all in your eyes, and it's tough at times. I've had plenty of times where I get out. I mean, I'm completely crying, it looks like, just because I can't see, and it's rough.
Now, staying on that subject, when you start to hit lap cars, how are you able to determine where exactly you are as far as position-wise? Like, is there a crew chief in your ear?
Yeah,
like,
that's a good question.
How do you understand where? Because it's probably hard to get lost with all the dirt and all the cars around you.
You guys don't use radios in sprint cars, correct?
Correct. We have what they call a receiver, and that allows the guys, the one race director up top, to be able to communicate with us. And his job is to tell you, like, caution's out, we're going green this lap. He's obviously not a spotter like you have in pavement racing, and so they'll say the lineup so everybody knows. But other than that, when you're racing, There's a couple, things like if you're up towards the front, you can always know who's in front of you. Like you go green and you're running fifth. Well, for instance, if it's the 20, 25, 26, and the 27 in front of you, like those guys are there. And even when you're passing lap cars, like those are who's in front of you. When you get back to about 10th and 12th and 13th, 14th. Hell, sometimes you don't know who you're passing. You don't know who you're racing. You get out and you're like, where did I finish? Like, oh, you ran 11. Oh, that's not so bad. I thought I was 15.
Now, have you ever had the opportunity to go see the World of Outlaws?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I had the opportunity. I haven't gone to the races in a while, and I went to see last year. I went to see the Pennsylvania Posse. They had a race down at Grandview Speedway, and Kyle Larson and Tony Stewart were there. And that track is like a miniature track, it's almost like Bristol, and it's banked. It's just crazy. And the backstretch wall shoots out at you. And, of course, Kyle Larson, just like in NASCAR, he's up against the wall, which, man, he's crazy just as well.
Yeah. And you guys are, when the phone number rang, you guys from up there in Allentown, I was actually supposed to go race up there in Pennsylvania this past weekend. I was going to go. A guy called me that lives up there, and I was going to go run Hamlin on Saturday night and then Action Track, which is Cutstown on Sunday night, but it ended up getting rained out. So I didn't make the trip up there, but I love racing up in PA. I've been up there a lot of times. And
that Action Track is a great place. Action Track is amazing.
Yeah, they've always puts on good racing, always got double files, so I'd like to get up there soon and get back after it because, like I said, racing up there is super fun.
Well, how the heck did you transition from dirt racing into NASCAR?
Well, when I moved up north, up to North Carolina, you guys' north is different than my north. I'm from Florida, so when I moved up north here to North Carolina, I was, I was kind of on the fence of exactly what I wanted to do as far as stay payment or go payment racing or stay dirt racing. And then I got up here and I realized, there's not much dirt racing in the state of North Carolina. There is, but it's a lot of late models, and they have some sprint cars, but a lot of them are like 305 race saver stuff. So we had our sprint car and I sold it, and we were able to get a payment late model. And I've spent a lot of time on iRacing and just the fundamentals of payment racing from iRacing. I feel like it's helped me a lot. And then once I got into the car, and it's all about just making laps, understanding it. And my first full year, I did a half year in late models, but my first full year was in the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series. So what would be 2 years ago? My first year, I'm in my third year now. So 2 years ago was my first, run at K&N, and was my first run at pavement all year. And I've kind of taken a liking to it. It's definitely got its ups and downs, and just so is dirt racing. There's plenty of times where I wish I could, do this or do that, but sometimes you're kind of dealt the cards you got, and you just got to make the most of it.
How was that transition from dirt racing to pavement? Was there a huge difference between that?
Absolutely. I think it's two totally different things where, you're running pavement and you gotta, you get down there, use a brake, turn the car, wait for it to cut the center, drive off, don't spin the tires, as opposed to dirt racing where you just get to the end of the straightaway, throw that thing completely sideways and let her eat. It's two total different opposite aspects that you've got to learn to deal with. And it's like I said, there's plenty of ups and downs, and it took time for me to learn. I think the biggest issue that I had was learning how to race 150 laps, not stamina-wise, but just knowing how to maintain yourself as far as, your race car and manage your tires for 150 laps. I'm used to, a 10-minute main is a long time, in dirt racing. So, we run at 30 laps in sprint cars. And so when you get to something that you're running 150, 175, and even 200 sometimes, it's like, whoa, I've got to learn how to pace myself here.
Well, how does that work? Like, I got to ask you this, and I know my son was going to ask you, What the heck happens? And you don't have to answer if you don't want to. What happens like if you have to go to the bathroom?
Yo, you gave me crap for that, man. You told me not to ask that question, and there you are asking that question.
But I mean, you're in that car such a long time.
I've never had to. Like, I guess you don't think about it. Like, you're more worried. The last thing I'm thinking about when I'm going at 160 miles an hour is, man, I feel like I need to go to the bathroom. Like, that's not even a thought. Like, so I've never dealt. I mean, I've gotten out plenty of times. Like, oh man, like I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go, and I run off to the bathroom. But I'm very OCD about making sure I use the restroom right before I climb in. Like, I'll do driver introductions, and then NASCAR officials are already screaming at you to go to your car. Dead sprint to the bathroom. I beeline for that thing, use the bathroom, and come right out. But I've never really had to, and I don't know of people that have like got out and been like, oh yeah, I peed all over myself. So
yeah.
I mean, I've never heard that. So I don't know. I guess it's something we don't think about. When you're sweating so much, I guess you really don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Now in this series, this Pro Series, what is your big race? I mean, I know you guys race at Bristol, which is probably amazing racing there, but what is your big race? Like NASCAR has Daytona. What's your Daytona in this series here?
I mean, we have multiple different races that hold different, statistics and different things. But for instance, like when we're running, when we race Dover or something at the end of the year, that's always a big one for us. Our season opener down at New Smyrna is pretty big because all the Cup guys are maybe 15 minutes down the road, and they always come over and watch, and not all of them, but a lot of them. And so, it's nice to have, that. And, Bristol, like you said, is another bit. A lot of the companion races are what we call the companion races. So when you're running the tracks at, Xfinity or Cabre, Iowa, New Hampshire, Dover, Bristol, those are our big ones that everybody tries to make and everybody tries to go out and run good in.
Now, what's it like with the K&M Pro Series when you have names like Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson, they make it to the bigs? How does that motivate you thinking, I could be just like them, I can get up there to that level?
A lot of big names came through that series.
Yeah, I mean, it shows a light at the end of the tunnel, and it gives you that hope of that you can make it. And Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson all came through the same team that I'm on right now. So it's definitely cool to have them that have come through it, and for you to be able to see, hey man, it's reachable. You just got to go do it. So like I said, it just takes time to make it happen, and hopefully the cards fall the right way.
Now, do you ever hear from those guys? Do they ever give you like advice?
Kyle Larson, I've talked to a lot. I wouldn't say a lot, but I've talked to him relatively often. Just out at Millbridge, or he's someone who I've looked up to. He comes from the same style of racing as I do, so we have quite a bit of kind of the same friend zone. So I've talked to him a few times. Never really about like, hey man, what does it take to go do this? But just more of on a friend basis whenever we do get to chat. But I haven't spoke to Bubba a couple times, but it's never really like, hey man, how do I go about doing this? It's more of just on a friend basis.
Now, believe it or not, NASCAR racing is almost like baseball. There's like so many minor league, like developmental leagues to get into. What's next after this series here? Is it Xfinity or is it the trucks?
I mean, it's really whatever you come up with a sponsorship for. So that's the sad truth about making it is it just requires that big sponsorship dollar. If you don't have it, you're not going anywhere. And as much as they try to kind of make the most of it and try to say this or that, the sad truth is that it comes down to money and being able to go out there and have a lot of money to run trucks and the sponsorship dollar to do it. So it's six one half dozen the other. If you're able to land in something that gives you a lot of money to go racing, you can go straight to Xfinity. Or if you land in something that like I said, you don't have a lot of money, you kind of dealt the cards you got, and you got to figure out something else to do. So it's a tough sport. It really is. And making it on talent is very rare in between. There's a couple guys that have done it lately, but it's very rare to hear of it. A lot of it comes from big sponsorship dollar, and that's what we all search for is to find that money.
Now, is there any, like, NASCAR has the big name, like, owners and stuff like that. Are they always, like, contacting people down there? I mean, your team's, isn't it owned by Dale Earnhardt?
My team is owned by Max Siegel, and Max Siegel used to own Dale Earnhardt Incorporated at one point. So,
I mean, you have like a big name in your organization here, and you're doing very well. I mean, you're fifth in points.
Correct. Yeah, we've had some misfortune. Otherwise, I think we'd be contending for the lead right now. In New Smyrna, we're leading and running first and second the whole race, and had a rear end failure, so we finished like 22nd in that. Then went to Bristol, ran second. South Boston, first one we ran 8th because we got caught in the last lap, just hard battling and spun out, and then ran second in the other one. So a pair of seconds, and then 2 DNFs. So not terrible, but we've had a lot of speed. Just gotta minimize those mistakes, and overall as a team and then as a driver, and then go about the rest of the season. I'm only 20 points out of the lead, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot in our series. So got to go knock some wins out of the park and get going.
Yeah, I mean, but looking at your stats, I mean, I'm not an owner by no means, but looking at your stats, I mean, they look really well. I mean, I'm sure with like all the younger guys that are going up to they're going up to the big boys. There's going to be a possibility of seats opening up next year in the trucks or in the Xfinity Series. So
yeah, and there is. There's always seats there. There's also just you got to have that dollar to go along with it, and that's just how it is. It's not how you would say like, oh man, this kid's a good driver. I mean, let's pull him up. If there's seats open and there's no money to go along, I mean, you saw there was 28 trucks at Kansas, and I'm not going to sit here and bash NASCAR, but that's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's how it's always been. That's how it always, not always been. That's how it's been as of lately, and that's how it'll be for a little while. So you just gotta, like I said, make the most of the situation you're in, enjoy it while you got it, and go on to, hopefully you land something, work hard to land something. And if you do, great. And if you don't, well, you figure out what else you're going to do.
I think my biggest question I really had for you was, it's a 2-part question. What was your biggest crash that you've ever been a part of? And what's it like being in the driver's seat going that fast while something like that occurs?
I'd say the biggest one that I can recall was Dover. I had a heck of a hit there.
The Moody Mile.
Was running into the corner and just blew right front, and man, that thing's killed. We junked it, but it was it's not fun.
Was that before the safer barrier?
No, that was during the safer barrier.
Oh my God!
But it still hurts. And you hit the wall going 160, 170 miles an hour, especially at that place. It's never really fun. So it's crazy. I mean, you don't really have time to think. When it happens, it just happens. When wrecks happen, they just happen, and then you have to go, oh man, either if you just spun out, you can get it back going, but you just, when situations happen and wrecks are happening, you have to make quick decisions and almost not even think, just react and make, figure out what you're going to do, or if you're the one wrecking, it's, kind of brace up and get ready if you think it's going to be a big one.
I got to ask you this, like a track like Bristol, you're in that line where you're just following cars around the track, and you're faster than some of those guys. You ever get frustrated? You just want to give them the bumper?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so frustrating at times. For instance, South Boston, I knew I probably had the car to win the second one. We ran twin races down there, and I actually was getting held up for about 10 laps behind my teammate. And generally, if you have a little bit of common sense, you're racing somebody on lap 10, you put your hand out the window and let them go, because you're only slowing yourself down and them, but you're allowing people to catch you, and you're not doing yourself any justice to try to go catch down the leaders. So, it's a tough deal, and people, you got to watch the Cup Series, watch the way they take care of their stuff. They let people go all the time, and once you get down to 50 to go, 60 to go, you start racing people a little bit harder. But when there's a whole race left, instead of holding people up, you got to let them. It's proper, and it's actually better for you to just wave them on by, lay down in their line, figure out what they're doing to be a little bit better, and maybe your car comes to you a little bit later. But to sit there and race somebody super early is not the way to do it. And I think anybody can tell you that. And but you learn over time exactly how to go about, like I said, how to conduct yourself over these long races. So eventually you figure it out, but like you said, being behind somebody, you get extremely frustrated, and you want to just lay the bumper to them and move them and say, "See you later, buddy." But sometimes you can't, and in certain situations you can't, and in certain situations you can. So it's a situational basis, and you guys got to take it for every lap for what it's worth.
How is it racing against Haley Deegan and Max McLaughlin?
Well, Max is one of my really good friends. Me and Max do a lot of stuff. We hang out all the time together. We do a lot of traveling together, running up to New York. I ran up there with him last couple weekends ago. He was running a big block modified up that way. So, and then when I was going to go up to New York last week, he had offered to ride with me, and so me and Max are really good friends. We talk, I'd say, almost every day.
Yeah.
And so to race against him, it's fun to have your friends out on the racetrack with you, and at the racetrack. It's not fun to have them on the racetrack. It's fun to have them at the racetrack, but on the racetrack it's frustrating. I've raced against Haley a couple times. Never really had much side-by-side battling with her, but she conducts herself well on the racetrack and well off the racetrack, and doing what she needs to do to make it to the top. And I think she's got, a really good support group behind her to do it. So, to have names, to race against is cool, and to go out there to beat them is even better.
Absolutely.
That's awesome seeing women in NASCAR. That's awesome. I got to ask you, the NBA finals and playoffs are going on right now. Do you follow any of that at all?
Finals and playoffs in what?
In the NBA.
Oh, yeah, I think I answered my question when I said in what. I have no clue. I don't follow none of that. I don't follow any sports. I'm not really a big sports guy.
All right. I mean, I was going to get your viewpoint, but that's fine.
Well, I got to ask you this. How do you feel about this new generation? I mean, you're young yourself, but how do you feel about this new generation of race car drivers that have like YouTube channels and have huge following? I mean, me personally, I don't mind it. I think it's pretty good for the sport because it gives like people recognition down at that level. But is it ever annoy any of you guys?
Some people's, if I'm being honest, some people's Instagrams and stuff drive me absolutely insane, just with some of the stuff they're posting. But like social media, having a good social media basis, man, I love video. I grew up doing a lot of video when Colin, my older brother, was racing, and was able to just kind of watch him, and picked up a camera, started learning it. So I'm a big guy on videos, and I've tried doing my whole YouTube channel myself, and I've got some videos on there of just me racing, but the whole vlog style that a lot of people have gotten into, I've tried to kind of do a couple different things with it, but so yeah, I'm an advocate of it. I definitely enjoy it, for sure.
Speaking of social media, our podcast account, we followed you today, so if you want to give us that follow back, we would love that.
Yeah, for sure.
Chase, I got to ask you this. What is your dream racetrack that you just hope one day you can get onto?
I think the ultimate dream would be to race at Williams Grove. It's a really cool racetrack.
That's not far from us.
Yeah, you guys are right up there with it. It's just, to run up there with the PA posse, and it'd be really cool. I really liked that track ever since I've seen it, growing up. So to be able to race on it would be, a dream come true that means I'm running a sprint car again, and that means I'm running a 410 more than likely because I don't know, but I don't think you have much 360 shows up there.
No, we don't have hardly any
410 stuff, so that'd be definitely a dream come true.
Now, with the same question, but NASCAR.
There's a lot of good racetracks. I think, man, everybody likes Daytona.
I was gonna say Daytona's got to be that one to go to.
Yeah, I mean, super speedway racing is cool. I've dreamed of racing in a super speed. The biggest place we got is Daytona and Talladega, but I really like the short tracks. Martinsville's a really cool place. I'd say of anywhere that if I could pick a certain track out, it would have to be somewhere like Darlington. I like the atmosphere of it. I've been to it. It's not far from the house. It's got a really cool little, unique structure to it. And, you get up there and rip the fence like you would in a dirt car. So it's pretty cool. It looks like it's a tough place, really tough. So I'd say if anywhere, that would be the place to go.
I got to ask you one quick question since we just talked about Daytona a little bit. Do you think the packages that they put together, it's more to keep the fans happy? And do you think that the drivers like racing that close?
No, not at all. I definitely, obviously, I'd say it's for the fans. And I definitely know the drivers don't like racing that close. It's it kind of takes a lot out of it when you're doing something and they're forcing you to race that way and draft off one another. It can be frustrating at times. I know that for sure. So yes and no. I'd say it's probably pretty fun at times, and I'd say at other times it's probably really dreadful to race in that the way it is right now. And I think many people have spoken their opinion about it and shown that they're not too big of a fan of it, but I definitely think the fans are sticking around. I mean, it's kept me interested just watching. So it's definitely not a bad little gig they got as far as viewership wise goes, but as far as what we got right now from a driver standpoint, definitely doesn't look like very much fun over the long run because like I said, you take a lot out of it from team's aspect. So
well, let me ask you this: if they took away the restrictor plates at Daytona, not everyone has the same engine shops. Some have better than others. Do you think that would open it up more? I mean, obviously the speeds would be through the roof, but you think because now you're racing, it's going to come down to the dollar. Who has the better engine program?
I mean, that's what racing is generally about nowadays. It's been what it's about for since I can remember, and that's why, not to take anything away, but that's why Richard Petty won all the races. He had a really good race car. Yeah. Was bringing really good race cars to the racetrack every week. So definitely, that's something that would happen, and you see it still, even without the restrictor plates when they're running mile and a half. So the bigger money teams are running up front and the smaller money teams are running towards the back. But at a track like Daytona where they all stay together, I don't know. I mean, they practically didn't have restrictor plates at the last, plate track they ran, and it was, everybody stayed together, at Talladega there where Alex finished second. It's tough because the way the package is now with the big spoilers, it really messes with a lot of people as far as drivability and stuff. And so when they pulled the restrictor plates, pretty much like they did, I don't even know what the tapered spacer was for Dega this past week, but I know it wasn't big, and at all. So. And you still saw close racing. So Daytona and Talladega will be draft tracks from the moment they were born to the moment they die.
All right, Chase, I think that's all the questions we have today. We truly appreciate you coming on and having a great laid-back conversation with us, and we appreciate the information.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on the show. It was definitely pretty fun.
Yeah, if you ever come up to this area, shoot us a message. We'll gladly come and see you. That'd be awesome to see you race around here.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I will do it for sure.
And if you ever want to get Kyle Larson on the show for us, that'd be awesome.
sometimes we get, a way to sneak people a couple into shows. So I'll throw the word around and see what we can do.
All right, so the Pelicans just won the lottery and are getting the first pick. Does this mean that Anthony Davis stays?
It's gonna be interesting. I don't know what's gonna happen there, man. Anthony Davis was not happy, and then at the end of the year, he said he doesn't want to leave. And Zion plays center, so will you move him to another position?
I think if Anthony Davis stays, I don't think the fans are going to respect him simply because he wanted out so bad, and now all of a sudden, because they have the first pick, he wants to stay. I don't know.
Or do you think maybe the Pelicans will actually trade that pick away in exchange for a bunch of future picks?
I think they're stupid if they do that because they still have a lot of young talent. I know that the Lakers were saying, not the Lakers, the Knicks. The Knicks were saying that if they got the first pick in the lottery, they were going to trade for Anthony Davis, which was mind-blowing because I don't know why you just don't get Zion and then get KD. But could you imagine if the Lakers would have gotten the first pick and they would have gotten Zion with LeBron James?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of rumors going around about this whole LeBron James trade for Ben Simmons, and I hope to God that does not happen.
Listen, I like LeBron. LeBron's a great player, but Ben Simmons is so young. Why would you want to make that trade? And LeBron would maybe play 2 years with you.
I wouldn't want that trade at all, and I think that would be the dumbest thing the Sixers can do. If anything, they should turn around and they should just re-sign their players that they have. They have the rights to, I think it's called the bird rights, I think it is, for Tobias Harris and Butler. They can offer them over the salary cap deals. I think the max deals they could offer them is 5 years, $189 million each. That'd be something they should do. I mean, they could go up and above. I think any other team can only offer from $140 million.
Yeah, the number one thing the Sixers need to do right now is to worry about their free agents because there's only like 3 guys that are still in the Sixers team right now. Like most of their teams are free agent. I mean, T.J. McConnell was only a 1-year deal. You got Butler, you got Harris, you got Boban. Like most of your team is a free agent. And Butler got interviewed about whether he wants to stay in Philly or not, and he didn't really give an answer. He just said he wants to make sure his team is happy, not like his basketball team, but like his family and his agents and everything, because they've sacrificed a lot moving to Philly. He was huge in that Game 7, and I thought he stepped up huge.
Well, I think J.J. Redick is another one that falls under that. I'm trying to find it now. It's called the bird rights or something like that, where they can offer them over the max amount. And they're saying they could offer all 3 of them big contracts. The only thing they might not be able to do would be renew Simmons and extend his contract.
Yeah. That whole Game 7 was crazy. It was actually, if you think about it, if you look at the stats, Game 7 between Toronto and the Sixers was a terrible shooting game. Nobody was making shots.
But that was the first time ever in NBA history they had a Game 7 buzzer beater.
Yeah, and let's face it, I knew it was going to be Kawhi. But, when the Sixers rallied back and Jimmy Butler tied it with 4 seconds left, and then you have Ben Simmons and Embiid guarding Kawhi as he goes into the corner and shoots a three-pointer. I saw the first bounce, and I was like, yes, he missed it.
As much as it hurt, though, it was awesome to see because the ball hit the rim like 4 times. And watching the fans' expression in the background was just, it was a great game.
After that first bounce, I was like, crap, it's going in, and we lost. And it sucks because you see Embiid. And what's awesome about this is, you see Embiid crying, and a lot of fans and media are not trashing him, but making fun of him. All the players that like Embiid trashed during the season, a lot of them came out because they were asked, "Are you gonna like talk about Embiid crying?" And they said, "Why would I?"
It shows the heart of a champion.
He said, "Why?" They said, "Why would I talk about that when you clearly can see the passion of the game he has?" That you're a coward if you make fun of that. And that's so true. It's so true. One thing I like about Kawhi, though, is Kawhi was interviewed, and they said, this is the first time ever this was a Game 7 buzzer beater. And he just has no emotion. He's never big on social media. The only every time you saw him have a reaction was when he hit that buzzer beater. That's like the first time ever I've seen him have a reaction. He's just a quiet, laid-back guy, and he dominated that game. He carried that whole team because nobody was shooting. But like we constantly say on this podcast, what made me mad about the Sixers is every time they went down to the court, nobody went under the rim.
No,
everybody.
I don't understand that.
Everybody lined up at the 3, and it just made no sense at all.
We gave them too many second shots. Offensive rebounding killed us in that game.
It was terrible. We got no rebounds. I mean, on the bright side, they said that Brett Brown's job is probably safe. which I don't think he should go.
I agree with that. He should be there.
He should. He absolutely should. He's been there. He has been there through it all. He was there when they were terrible.
Yeah, I think because the players like him. He's a player's coach. I think that they need to bring him back, and I think that whole rumor, I'm glad that's all it was a rumor.
And I said this to Noah. I said, if they brought in a new coach, how do you know Jimmy Butler will come back? Like, maybe Jimmy Butler had a good connection with Brett Brown. Maybe these players won't come back seeing that there's going to be a new coach. They might go to a new team because either way they're going to have a new coach.
Yeah, right here, I'm seeing it now. The Sixers have full bird rights on both Butler and Harris, which allows them to exceed the salary cap to re-sign either or both of them. They also will be able to offer each of them a 5-year, $189.7 million contract, while opposing suitors will be limited to 4-year, $140.6 million deals.
Dang.
And they also have the matching rates on the players and it's an advantage for them. So, and the owner came out today and said they're not afraid to go up to offer them max deals.
Yeah. Portland is currently playing Golden State in Game 1, and Portland is currently down by 5 points, 20-25. I think it's awesome to see the Curry brothers facing each other.
I know.
Imagine facing your brother. Like I would say, I'd walk up to the coach and be like, "Listen, I want to guard him. I practiced against him. I grew up with him." I think that's awesome to see. It's mind blowing. Teddy Rozier came out today and said that if the Celtics stay intact, as Kyrie coming back, he said I might have to go because I put up with a lot of things. I think that really shows you how the players don't really care for Kyrie.
See, this is the thing I don't understand about basketball contracts. It says the Sixers have full bird rights on Butler and Harris. It says Philly only has early bird rights on Redick, which means they can offer him a starting salary of no more than 175% of his current salary. Since he earned $12.25 million, it says the Sixers can't offer him a starting salary north of roughly $21 million next season.
Dang. We just saw that the Yankees picked up first baseman / DH Kendrys Morales from the A's.
Yeah, what is it with the freaking injury bug in New York?
Yeah.
We lost Jonathan Loaiza again. He's done for how long? Who knows? And we're now Andujar.
Andujar wasn't as big as like the beginning of the season, but Aaron Boone came out and said that Andujar's decision on surgery is likely coming soon.
I kind of think they're going to force him to because he was batting under one and. I don't know what's going to happen.
On the bright side, Hicks is back. That gives us a little bit more at-bats, DH-wise, too, because I heard he was killing it in AAA.
I'm just surprised with the young talent that we have that we're holding ground. We're only a half game out of first place.
We just took 2 out of 3 against Tampa Bay. We didn't have Aaron Judge. We didn't have Dylan Betances. We didn't have Giancarlo Stanton. We didn't have Hicks for that series. That's awesome to have. You have Luke Voigt, who is clearly going to be our first baseman now.
We basically got Kendrys Morales for cash.
They're saying there's a player, they just haven't named it yet.
It says cash consideration.
I don't know, but all I can say is Urshela is killing it at third base. You have DJ LeMay, who is killing it. Torres is doing great.
Playing great.
Frazier, it's just looking great.
But we got to watch out for Boston. Boston's
getting hot.
Boston is very hot. They won 12 out of the last 15 games.
Currently, the Yankees are a half game out. Boston is only 3 games out right now with Toronto 8.5. They dropped all the way down 8.5.
Boston's who I'm really worried about. They are really playing good baseball now, and they've turned it around. I mean. They're losing tonight, thank God, but they're a scary team because they're starting to get hot, and they are the defending champs.
You have the Astros, who are 27-15 and who are just going off right now. George Springer dominated yesterday.
I feel like we haven't seen the Yankees playing forever.
There's been a lot of rainouts.
Yeah, they got postponed again today.
George Springer, by the way, has 15 home runs already, 38 RBIs. He's just lighting it up right now. All right, we brought Rudy in to help us finish this podcast. Rudy, what were your thoughts on the Game 7 between the Sixers and basically Kawhi, not even Toronto?
It's pretty shocking. I did not think that shot was going to fall. So it was a couple bounces. Maybe it might have fell out, go to overtime, but that shot dropped. I was like, wow, shocked.
You know what's crazy, though, is he took so many shots in that game. I don't see them getting by Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee has too many weapons.
Yeah, especially with Kyle Lowry. Every time the playoffs come, he tends to disappear. Not a big help at all whatsoever. And it sucks for Kawhi, but I think you're right with the Bucks going to the finals.
Well, what's crazy is Lowry did terrible at offense, but somehow he was able to get so many rebounds over Simmons and Embiid. It just made no sense to me.
Yeah, especially on that last possession, one of the last possessions where Ibaka just got an easy rebound over Embiid. Like, he didn't even try to get the rebound, but they still managed to tie the game anyway.
And what's frustrating, and we were talking about this before you came on, is the Sixers don't line up at the three-point line. And watching Embiid, what was frustrating with him is at one point he wasn't even paying attention, had the ball taken right out of his hands. I think 3 times we shot past the shot clock. It just wasn't good ball. Even though we came back and tied it up, it just wasn't good ball.
No, it wasn't. I don't know. You could also blame Embiid too for I think it was Game 4 where he completely disappeared. Had the 9 turnovers. I don't understand how one game he's sick and then the next game he plays so well.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
Last Sunday is the game that they should have been up 3-1, and they fell apart late. That's the game where Embiid and I think Simmons had 13 combined turnovers. I think that kind of after that, because then Tuesday they got blown out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Embiid needs to come back better condition next year. Because I don't know what's up with his injuries. His injuries are just weird. They're not even consistent injuries. It's just weird type of injuries.
And what happened to Boban? Why did they stop playing Boban?
Yeah, Boban's another one disappeared. He got, what was it, the last series? He got a lot of offensive rebounds too.
Well, they didn't play him, and he's 7 foot tall. We could have used him for those rebounds.
Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't play him. At least give Embiid some rest if he needed it.
Yeah.
All right, Rudy. The Knicks got the 3rd overall pick in the NBA draft. Who do you want them to take?
It's probably going to be R.J. Barrett. I did want the number 1 pick, but I'm cool with number 3. It could have been a lot worse. Could have been the 5th pick or 7th, something like that. So I'm fine with the 3rd pick.
It's funny. They have so many free agents listed as going to the Knicks. It's going to be interesting this offseason.
I mean, we'll see what happens. At this point with the Knicks, I'm just numb to it. So, if nothing happens, I wouldn't be surprised. But if it does happen, that'd be great.
I think I'd rather have KD over Kyrie right now. Do you think it'd be okay trading your 3rd overall pick away for a good talent, or do you want to hold on to that pick?
I don't know. I feel like them trading that pick would be such a Knicks thing to do. I just want them to keep the 3rd pick and all the young pieces that they have and just build with that. Because at least they would have a lot more depth. If you trade away all those pieces, you just have if you were to get them KD and Kyrie and then fill in the team with a bunch of old guys, probably a bunch of no-name players. Well, I feel like they should just develop the young guys.
It's a good thing you guys got rid of Porzingis, huh? I see that he got beat up, and apparently now he has a broken hand.
Yeah, I don't know. It hasn't been going too good ever since he got traded away from the Knicks. He looks like he has a lot more toxic background than people thought, because he also has those rape allegations on top of getting beat up too. So.
Oh man, Rudy, I just don't know what's wrong with these athletes.
What is going on with the Yankees, Rudy? You could technically call them the Rail Riders. I mean, they're beating teams left and right, and half the team's gone.
I'm actually excited with the way they're playing. The way they're playing is exciting. It's very scrappy. They're grinding out games. Very opposite to the team that we usually carry. Hit a lot of home run hitting team, but a lot of guys. Ursula playing great defense. DJ LeMahieu's been the MVP of the team, and Herman. You couldn't ask for a better pitching than what Herman is doing right now. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's cool because our starting ace, max contract, he's gone. Betances, he's out. Hicks is out. Stanton was out. Judge was out. But you have these young guys come up and they are grinding out these wins. I mean, we took 2 out of 3 against Tampa Bay and are only a half a game out of first place right now. When in reality, if you look on paper, our team, we should be probably in last place with how inexperienced some of these players are.
Yeah, no, it's freaking amazing. You couldn't ask for a better start, honestly. You couldn't be playing better, and it's gonna be cool to see when we started getting guys back. Cashman's going to have a lot of interesting decisions to make, but I like the way they're playing right now.
You know what
Especially
shocks
with
me?
Boston surging.
You know what shocks me the most is how bad Gardner's playing offensively. I just like he was batting over 428 in the spring training, and now he's barely batting 1. I said to Ty the other day, they got to think about making a move there, and Ty's not too keen on that.
Well, like you got to understand too is the starters are going to be Frazier. You're going to have Frazier out there. They're not going to take him out. They're going to have Hicks out there. It's going to be Judge. So Gardner is going to be the utility guy because Stanton's going to be DH. So I'm okay with having Gardner come off the bench. I just don't want to get rid of him.
I just would rather keep Cameron Maben out there. Hicks is coming back, so keep Maben out there. He's playing great. I just think there comes a time where Gardner and Sabathia, you got to make choices on those two.
Well, I mean, as far as CeCe, CeCe's this is his last year, so and he's pitching very well. On top of that, he's been pretty good last few starts. Gardner, it's hard to say to let him go, but I agree with Tyler. Just have him as a utility guy, come off the bench, but I do also like Cameron Maben, so that's another tough choice. And we'll see what happens when Didi comes back, and if Duhart doesn't get surgery and comes back fully healthy.
And
that's another interesting choice they have to do.
That's the thing that's crazy about Didi. They interviewed him the other day. He's ready to go. He's making throws from shortstop. He's hitting off the tee. He's doing hitting. It's like the Yankees are holding out and letting him play.
I think they're just waiting for the right time because I was hearing the same thing about Hicks, that he was probably ready a couple weeks ago. But I think they're just waiting for the right timing to bring him up.
All I know is that I would hate to have Aaron Boone's job right now because he's going to have to make a lot of decisions. You can guarantee Tauchman and Wade are going to get sent down. But as far as utility players and who starts, like even if Andujar came back healthy, you would definitely start in your cell at third base because of his great glove and DH and Andujar.
Oh, no, I mean, not only with his glove, but also with his bat. He's been clutch.
Yeah,
I mean,
his bat has been being good lately.
3 times, but he's been hitting. My guy slowed down, but he's already having a better season than last year. Gary Sanchez.
Yeah.
Not Real Muto, like over in Philly, not doing anything.
Yeah, Gary Sanchez, he's doing great behind the plate right now. I give it up to him.
I just think the Yankees got to do something as far as pitching. I mean, they're not going to pick up Keuchel, and no one's going to pick him up until after, I guess, the Rule 5 draft or whatever that is on that June 2nd deadline, whatever. But they have to do something because Chance Adams, man, Chance Adams, he's shaky up in the pros. Sessa, he's shaky. Loaiza he got put to the IL.
What do you think about them trading for maybe Marcus Stroman?
I like Stroman. Stroman has a lot of swag and he never had a lot of offense to back him up. I mean, he gets hit around.
Send him
I would love
Andujar.
him. I would love him.
Send them. They need a third baseman. Send him Andujar.
They don't need a third baseman.
I'm joking.
And I mean, the good thing about some of the guys that are playing well right now, eventually when the starters do come back, some of these players could be used as trade pieces. Yeah,
absolutely. I think the Yankees are just looking great right now.
Did you see that thing on TV the other night where it took Greinke forever to throw 2 pitches?
I did see that, yeah.
And that's what's going to trigger MLB to bring that clock back?
Oh, no, I didn't see that. I did see something about him taking a while to throw 2 pitches, but I didn't think it was to that extent.
Oh, my God, it took him forever. And the batter kept stepping out because Greinke was just standing there looking at him. It's like it was so boring. It was like, oh, my God, this is horrible.
Well, how about Madison Bumgarner? They talked to him and said about him getting traded, and he listed all these teams that he doesn't want to get traded to, and it was like the Braves, the Yankees, Boston, the Cubs. Like it was almost every single good team that he didn't want to get traded to, and it was just like, why?
Money talks, though.
Yeah, that's true. Unless he doesn't want to get his hair cut or anything like that with the Yankees. Some players are. So how about what was it, the shortstop for was it the White Sox? Is it Tim Anderson? I think his name is.
Yeah.
Talking about he doesn't watch baseball because it's boring. Like, wow, dude, you're a baseball player. You're gonna call baseball boring.
I mean, there are some times where baseball can be a little boring, like watch. I prefer to play baseball rather than watch it, or even go see it live. Watching it on TV can get a little slow sometimes, but I still enjoy it though.
Yo, Chris Sale, he has 17 strikeouts in 7 innings.
Dude, he's getting hot.
Dude, that's insane.
And the whole team's getting hot. They're like like 6 games under 500 a few weeks ago. Now they're like 3 games over.
Yeah, now they're like 22-15, and they're 5 out, I think, or like that, something like that, or 3, something like that.
3, yeah.
Nah, man, I
They're
mean,
getting hot.
you see that a lot right before the All-Star break. Teams start to get hot, and all of a sudden after the All-Star break, they change it around. Man, they're in first place.
Well, the only reason I'm weary too about them trading for pitching because then in July you get Severino and Jordan Montgomery back too.
Yeah, but with Severino, I would not rush that. Like at this point, like you gave him a 5-year deal. I don't want to rush him and he tears something again and he can't pitch for like it's just he screwed up for like 2 years.
Yeah, that's true too.
Dude.
Up like Carl Pavano.
Chris Sale faced 23 batters. He struck out 17 of them.
Dang.
Filthy.
That's insane.
One guy we need to get going is Chad Green. He got sent down to AAA because
He's back now.
Is he back? Has he been doing?
Yeah, he came back and struck out the side in his first game.
Yeah, and they interviewed him, and they said that he went down and he watched tape and everything, that his mechanics were all off, and that he's back now, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's another one that Dylan Betances. I don't know how I forgot about him. That's another weapon that they could use in the bullpen.
And I haven't even heard anything about Dylan Betances or even Judge.
Yeah, Judge, I haven't heard anything.
Betances has been at the Yankee games, but they're saying he's going to be out till after the All-Star game. Stanton's supposed to come back next. Stanton just saw live hitting yesterday, so he's another one that's coming back. Hicks was supposed to be in the lineup tonight, so we are getting healthy slowly, but we gotta get better pitching. We need help there.
And I'm not gonna lie. I'm usually the positive guy, but after everybody went down, I was like, man, this is gonna be a bad season. And can you imagine like when we add Stanton and Judge to the lineup, how like and Frazier? I love Frazier. He is just killing it with the Jordans on. What happened to the Yankees having a strict uniform rule? Remember when Brett Gardner wore white New Balance cleats?
That was the league.
And they didn't like that. And now you got him wearing all kinds of Jordans.
No, those the MLB had their rule, but I guess they're lightening up a little bit. They need it too because they need some kind of excitement in baseball.
Well, the thing that's going to hurt the Yankees is if we don't get Paxton back. Losing Severino is bad enough, but then if we lose Paxton, who has a rotator strain or whatever the heck he has, that's going to hurt. Because then it's almost going to force you. You're going to have to go out and make a trade to get another starting ace in there.
I don't know. I was telling Tyler that the Yankees need to fire their conditioning staff or what's going on because I did not envision them having this many injuries.
Well, hopefully things turn around and we have them early. Where most teams get them late, we'll be fine for the stretch run.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to have them early enough for the stretch run. So at least getting some of those players is like almost making trades at the deadline with the way they're playing.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Phillies, Rudy?
I honestly haven't paid too much attention to the Phillies. I have heard that division as a whole is struggling, that nobody seems to want to take it. I know the Mets have been struggling lately. They just got a couple wins off the Marlins, but
the Phillies,
Atlanta's losing games, so it's like the Nationals are losing games. Like almost the division's there, but nobody wants to take it.
The Phillies are the hottest team in that division. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're losing tonight. They're 24-16 with a 3.5 game lead over the Braves.
The Mets are only 4 out. I mean, that division is for the taking. It's just nobody wants to. The division there's a lot of good divisions, like the West, freaking Houston, the Angels, and Seattle. That's intense.
Dude, the thing that blows me away is my World Series prediction was the Yankees against the Nationals, and the Nationals are 16-25, 8.5 games out.
That's disappointing, especially with all the money they spent for Corbin, all the pitching.
I picked the Yankees and the Cubs, and the Cubs are so hot right now.
Yeah, you got that one good. I picked Milwaukee, so.
Milwaukee's right there.
The Brewers are right there. The Twins are. I called the Twins were going to do great in that division this year, and they're 25-15 right now.
Yeah, they made a lot of nice low key moves, picking up Marlon Gonzalez and Nelson Cruz. So they low key made a nice couple moves there.
And San Diego's still above 500, which no one thought that they. Colorado is doing worse than San Diego right now.
Let me see.
San Diego is 22-19. The Rockies are 19-21 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because they're missing their number one prospect too, Tatis Jr. Unless he came back from injury, I know he was out for a little bit.
I think it was the Braves, not the Braves, the Milwaukee just brought up their number one prospect in their system today.
Yeah, they did. I don't know how to pronounce his name, though, so I'm kind of...
Yeah, it was a really long one, too.
That's why we don't talk about hockey, Rudy. We can't pronounce none of their names.
All right, Rudy, I think we're going to end this podcast for tonight. We thank you, though, for helping us finish this off because we were running a little low on things to talk about.
I don't know. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem. We'll have to have you on for a full podcast, though, next time.
Definitely. I'm always down.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us on this podcast today. We're up to number 16 on this podcast. They've been awesome to do. We had a special guest today with Chase Cabre. It was an awesome inside of the NASCAR world.
Awesome. You got to listen to his input on not just NASCAR, sprint car driving as well. It's pretty awesome.
Again, if you want to follow us for notifications, our Facebook page is Everything Goes. So we also have Twitter. It's @GoesEverything with a Z.
Let's get those likes and subscribes up.
Don't forget, if we get to 100 subscribers by the end of this month, he is having to buy an Eagles jersey. Hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Thanks.